This is like a half public, half internal video for us. We just had a comment come through on the Boardman Facebook page, and a customer was claiming that their 2007 Trailblazer absolutely could not have synthetic oil. And obviously, this is something that we've written about. It's something we've talked about with our move at the company owned locations to be full synthetic only. And so, um, we've always had this internal tagline that the most educated consumer will always choose us. And so it was important for me to respond to this person personally rather than wait for our social media person to get around to it tomorrow. And so I pulled up the 2007 Trailblazer owner's manual, and it's incredibly important to note that cars do not call for conventional oil or synthetic blend oil or full synthetic oil. The type of base oil that consists of the lubricant that a car takes is irrelevant. What matters is the spec that the car calls for, which in the case of GM is always that Dexos spec. Now, 2007 is pre Dexos, so this is before they made that spec, but they still had the GM standard, and the GM standard in this particular car was the 609 4M. And it was uh, pretty easy to share this owner's manual and just and say, hey, I understand why you believe that. That's something that a lot of people say. Here is the portion of your owner's manual that states what the requirements are, what kind of engine oil to use. And it states right here, your vehicle's engine requires oil meeting GM standard GM 6094M. You should look for and use any oil that meets GM standard GM 6094M, SAE 5W30. As shown in the viscosity chart, SAE 5W30 is the best for your vehicle. These numbers on the oil container show its viscosity or thickness. Do not use other oils. Now, if we scroll down here a little bit on the owner's manual, it's actually going to say here, if it's going to talk about the different temperatures because temperature really impacts what type of oil you should use unless your engine is a single grade engine. Um, and you only use one weight. But in vehicles that have multi-grade, they can utilize different weights based on what the temperature is. Also, the W in oil stands for winter, so that front number represents colder temperature versus the back number, which is summer. Anyway, long story short, it says in this actual, and this is a person who thought their car could only take conventional oil. That's what they were told. It's what they believed. Bob is the oil guy. Da 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 da. It says if you are in an area of extreme cold where the temperature falls below negative 20 degrees, it is recommended that you use either SAE 5W30 synthetic oil or an SAE 0W30 oil. Both will provide easier cold starting and better protection for the engine at extremely low temperatures. Look, that doesn't mean that the car needs synthetic oil, but what it does prove is that the car can take synthetic oil. So the thought process that, oh, this 2007 cannot take full synthetic oil is kind of debunked right here in the owner's manual. So wanted to do a quick short video on that. It's in the owner's manual. You'll never find an owner's manual tell you you have to have a specific brand. You'll never have an owner's manual tell you that you have need to have a specific oil. Now, that being said, there are some oils that just by sheer production and manufacturing only come in full synthetic. 0W20 used to be a synthetic blend oil. Now the only 020 you can find is synthetic. So 0W20 has in the nomenclature of our society has become defaultly known as a full synthetic oil. The same goes for all these new oils. 016, 0W8, they're not made in synthetic blend. So people think, oh, that is full synthetic. Well, if the only production of it is synthetic, then yes, you're going to think that. Um, that's just how it is. And going forward, the vast majority of cars on the road are going to require full synthetic. So it's going to become a non debatable point anyway, but that we haven't reached that point yet. There's still plenty of people who believe that they cannot put full synthetic in their car, and that's simply just not the case. So wanted to do this video. Thanks, guys.